people hear some of those same sort of examples where one of the positive impacts actually of these was communities started talking about the issues, the peoples, and how it's affecting people's lives in different ways?
Sure. I mean, I think that was the dream of the organizing, was that it would really, that the conversation was a conversation that really would help transform our state. And that's, for Outfront, that's, like, that was our hope, that it was this really nasty thing that we tried to stop, obviously. Didn't want it to happen, but that actually it happened and it became good. And I do think there's lots of issues that face LGBT people of color, and and lots of LGBT people who have economic struggles. That marriage, for some people it actually helps, but not everyone. And what I think the thing for a lot of LGBT people, I think the side that a lot of people came out with was more around what I said about just what it says about who you are as a person was really damaging. And it, because this wasn't actually put on the ballot for about marriage. I mean, it wasn't put on in 2004 when the religious right was asked, why were you doing this? It was to turn out far-right voters to vote for President Bush. And it was to actually, I mean, just the same people will oppose a safe schools bill that says you shouldn't bully people based on who they are. And they'll oppose that same bill. And so I think for a lot of people, they know it's actually just about really trying to stop the progress of people who are LGBT. And so I think for Soy too, that's what it ended up coming down to, even though there's a lot of issues that face a lot of the LGBT community that are really important. And so I think that that's the future going forward, is, how do we hold all those issues and move forward together and really see the full range of the people that are affected by the issues moving forward around economic justice.
As we're thinking forward, some of the lessons that will go forward, what are some final thoughts that you had? And we can start anywhere.
I love that we keep it.
You want to hold the mic?
Sure. I was going to say that gentleman just snuck out there, and I, as a communications director and somebody who actually firmly believes that, despite my pragmatic streak and having worked for a campaign that ultimately I think was a lot more rationally based than emotionally based. The way to win is actually emotionally based, and it's values based, and it's like hitting people in their guts. And so I actually agree that is the path forward, and I think we can have a lot more victories if people check themselves at the door and figure out, as you said, like, this is just wrong. I mean, both of these are just wrong, and how do we figure out how to speak to what that means? I think there's strategy in it. I do believe that, we have to be disciplined messengers. Obviously, I have to do that in my own job. But I do believe the path forward is being more inclusive. That was well said about setting the table, and if it's not set right, let's set it right. I mean, that's such a great, metaphor, I think, for going forward. And I think a lot of times we say, well, practically we can't cancel this meeting, and practically somebody should have just maybe kind of known they should be here. That's BS, obviously. We have to drag people to meetings. We all know that. We're all in that situation ourselves. So that gives me a lot of hope that we even have these reflections, that we actually are taking the time to analyze this election cycle and to really, as we say at Take Action, and all sorts of people say, we earn the right, we've earned an opportunity now to go and govern. And as progressives who now have a progressive governor and I'm hoping a progressive legislature, we don't know. I think they're only as good as what they can deliver. That the people go and hold feet to the fire. And ultimately, we have to lead. People lead. People led on these amendments and pushed people into uncomfortable places. And I think that, as we walk into session, we have to analyze and reflect on what just happened, where the fissures are, where the successes were, what we need to work on, who we need to bring to the table, who we need to build relationship with, and take that into governing and not be afraid. Because I fear that our leaders now are pulling back. and saying, well, we've got to have a balanced approach, and this, you know, go to Facebook, I wrote something on overreaching, but you know, we've got to reach for something. Nobody got elected to hold up the status quo. I don't think anybody did. So let's stop talking about overreach. Let's reach for something and be really clear about what we're reaching for and do it right. So those are some of my thoughts. Thank you.
So we have to be aspirational. So I just agree.
Aspirational, that's a good
Like, we have to be aspirational. It's not our job to be like, well, let's try to compromise before we even start talking about anything, because I don't know why. But so we have to help our state be really aspirational and define what Minnesota looks like, and be aspirational in that, and not take the shortcuts, and not actually go to a place of scarcity. And that's going to take all of us, with thousands of other people, right, doing this work together to be able to make that happen. So let's do it.
What's
I don't know.
Oh. Doing the work on this campaign was probably one of the best things in my life. I worked crazy hard, and my best health practices that as a busy mom of 5 that I worked really hard over the summer to try and establish went out the door. But that's okay. I'll start running again. But it was significant for a lot of different reasons, and one was because of what Chris explained, I think, really well about the campaign, was speaking in first person, sharing the energy in the room at the Parkway that night, where there was a trust of each other that we were going to be good messengers of this work. But there was also going on Facebook and seeing pictures of people in northern Minnesota gathered around either amendment issue that looked nothing like me, that probably I would never meet, and we would never be in the same home together or whatever. But we're having really frank conversations that we're all part of the organizing work that both TakeAction and OutFront, you know, were doing, that was really, really powerful. And so I think that this election was, or this campaign, or all of these campaigns and what happened, was even more inspiring for me and for many of us probably here tonight than 2008 for those of us in Minnesota, because we did connect in so many different ways. And so no, I did not vote for any of the people I voted for to keep the status quo going. And I think we're a lot smarter and better after this election, and there's a lot of really amazing people that want to get engaged and involved and be audacious and brilliant and bold. And I think that we do need to have some alignment, but in what we're saying and what we're after. But it doesn't mean that the message for soy or for the Eritrean community or for the LGBTQ community all has to look exactly the same. It can be a really stupid meme, which we did some really awesome memes and some really stupid memes that were really, really fun for the voter rights campaign. And it can be powerful videos, and that we need everyone. And I think that we really did a good job of that, and that we need to, like Chris said, make sure the table is set right, and continuing to trust each other and trust that we can fight for something bigger than we even imagine.
Well, I want to say thank you to you all for all the work that you did. I know that I look across this room and I see people that I saw at phone banks, people that I bumped into at the Parkway, and people that contributed in a lot of different ways. And I want to thank you. So a big round of applause for yourself.